Hey, Lewis, while we're waiting for it to start, you may want to just close your video and your mic.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you going to be turning yours on for the meeting?
Yeah. We're about
Okay.
to start projecting on live on the Facebook.
Okay, but you'll have your video on while we're presenting?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, whatever time zone you're in. So good morning, good afternoon, good night, as we usually start these. Thank you so much for joining us. So today we're going to talk about how to become an esports or competitive gaming student athlete. And today we have Coach Lewis Smith from Concordia University, Wisconsin. Also, Moses Lee is joining us from Michigan Language Center. So before we get started, just want to let you guys know if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat. We will make sure to get to your questions. And we are so glad to have you here today. As a note, we are recording this, so you can find it on our YouTube channel at Concordia International Center. So we will have it recorded there in case you need to pop out for any reason. All right, thank you so much. So we're going to get started here today. Let's talk about what we're going to cover. So step one, we're going to cover introductions of, I did a little bit today of who we all are and what we do. Then we're going to talk about frequently asked questions about esports or competitive video gaming at the collegiate level, at the college level. Then we'll have an opportunity to answer your questions. So those ones you guys put in the chat box, we'll make sure to answer those. Then we're going to chat about the computer science program, both the undergraduate and graduate program at Concordia University, Wisconsin. Then how to apply to our campus. It's very easy steps, and I'm here to help you along the way. And then we'll kind of turn it over to you guys of what you'd like to see in our next iteration. We have a plan, but we want to hear from you guys as well of what you'd like to see. All right, so introductions. So Lewis Smith, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, super happy to be here. I'm still in my first year of coach at Concordia, but it's been an absolute blast. I started the team in January, and before that, I've been working esports for about 6 years now, which is very long in terms of esports. But I graduated college from University of Minnesota in 2015, and right after that, I started my own esports company revolving around statistics. And then I worked for a couple professional organizations after that. Sorry, most notably Evil Geniuses, and then a couple esports marketing firms to really, I guess, build out my whole esports portfolio. But I've been at Concordia a year now, and the team is a success, and it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks so much. Yeah, you've done so much in just the 1 year you've been here. And it's really true that your experience in the field of esports and sports in general, of professional sports, means that our team is a step above the rest when it comes to playing in tournaments. Then you'll see me there. I am the International Admissions Coordinator for both Concordia University, Wisconsin, which is on this beautiful backdrop behind me. We have $1 million views here every day. And I'm there to help international students figure out which program is best for them, also to kind of navigate the steps of applying to college. So I'm here to help you with any of those questions. And then last but not least, we have Moses Lee. Moses, would you introduce yourself, please?
It's nice to see everyone here on the webinar, as well as live streaming on Facebook and on the recording on YouTube in the future. Really excited to be here. Really, my role is working with Concordia University to support international students to be successful when they're in college. My passion really is in just really empowering international students to reach their goals. And I'm really excited for today's webinar on how you can combine maybe your passion for video games and competition with a college degree and see how they can all fit together. I'm really excited to learn from Coach Lewis as well. This is new for me as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a new field. And we want to just throw up some facts here very quickly. So there are over 190 National Association of Collegiate Esports partner schools. That means it's a growing field, and it's not just Concordia that is participating in this, although we are one of the first ones to have a competitive esports team on a college campus. So you are a college student athlete when you join the esports team. Then there are, in their first season, our esports team had over 80 students join in just their first year. That's amazing. That shows that there is a great passion for video games and competitive video games amongst you, our students. So figuring out how to have that large number of students in your first year, I'm sure was a bit of a challenge for you, Lewis, of having that many students all at once. So then our last fact up here is that during COVID-19, the esports team was the only team being competitive at the start of COVID. So that is amazing. Of even in the time of pandemic, you guys were still competing. You were still playing when other more physical presence teams weren't able to do so. So you guys haven't missed a step, and I think that's really amazing. All right. So first question here, I'm sure it's not just us that were like shocked when esports became a thing on campus. So we're just all curious, Coach, are all video games considered esports?
Yeah, that's a good question and one I get a lot. And don't worry, I drank more water, so now my voice is better. I won't make that same mistake again. So yeah, video games are a massive industry, so much fun. Booming, hundreds of new video games coming out every year that are really exciting and fun for everyone to play. However, esports is a little different than video games. A lot of video games, you play like the story mode and you're just going through the story, or you're playing against computers, or it's not as competitive. Esports are very competitive video games. So things where you are going against another player in order to win, whether it's one game or, against a clock, you're racing the other person, or like going head to head. With these are very competitive esports. So that's a big differentiator. Like, it's going against other people, and they are video games that you can become incredibly skilled at. It's not one where a lot of randomness or chance is a part. So things like Rocket League, it's really playing soccer with cars, but it's 3 versus 3, each car controlled by a real person. And the better you are at the game, the more you're able to do with the car. And it creates a really good competitive atmosphere, something you'd see similar to traditional sports, with being a similar barrier to entry, but then a very high skill ceiling for players within the game.
Are you always opposed to someone when you are playing? Like, are you against a competitive person? Like, are you playing against someone?
Yeah, sometimes you're against one person or one team, sometimes you're against 50. It really depends on different esports. So something like Fortnite, we had our Fortnite league actually conclude over the weekend, and there's 33 groups of 3 in the same place at the same time. So that's a unique spot where you're not only going against one, but you're going against 32 teams at the same time. And then, like I said, Rocket League is a good example of 2 teams, 3 people on each team, all on the same map, doing the same thing, trying to win the game.
So there's a lot of teamwork there. There's a lot of communication happening of who's doing what and how you're responding.
Yeah, a lot of it. Everyone playing together. They are on microphones, talking to each other, whether in game or even between rounds. They're talking strategy, trying to figure out the best way to go about winning.
Oh, very cool. All right. I'm sure that would be very helpful for students' English as well, where you have this common thing to talk about, and then you have to talk strategy. So you have to really have great English skills and to work on bettering those to be a good esports teammate.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, communication is everything. And like me, I'm not even on the mic with you. So when you're in there, it's the people on the team talking and working together.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next question here. So what games does your team play? And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I did some research and saw that you guys play all of these games. So can you talk about which one is perhaps the most popular? And then also if there's any here that I missed, or can students start their own? I mean, that's a lot of questions for you there. Let me know.
I'll take them one at a time. First, yes, you did your research. Great job, Kelsey. We play all of these games and more. And actually, the list of games we play is always growing. 1, because new games come out. But 2, a lot of the games we don't play them because I don't have enough players or a full team to fill that game. Something like a game like Counter-Strike Global Offensive is one of the most popular in the world, but it's not one of our varsity sports because it requires more people than we have able to play that game. But these are 9 great examples. I'd say one of our biggest is Call of Duty. Call of Duty is just one of the most popular games in the world. Just even people playing casually, not familiar with esports, but the new Call of Duty came out last month. Our team has absolutely been loving it. And we have a league started in January. And then right in the center of the screen, League of Legends is by far the biggest esport in the world. There's massive professional leagues in every region of the world. America is actually one of the smaller ones compared to how large it is in Korea and China. But League of Legends is a varsity sport of ours where we have a full team of 5 practicing each week and competing head-to-head against other schools.
That is so awesome. And to see that that international students can certainly maybe have a heads up or more of an advantage, more experience in these games than our American students do. They could show us a different style when they start playing. I had a question, Louis.
Yeah, I think you had about 4 in there. I don't know if I got them all, so you go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I do love to ask questions. It's one of my personality flaws, perhaps. But are these all online games, or do they require certain software or hardware that students need to have coming in?
Yeah, so the great part about these games is we are able to play all of them completely online. There's a couple where like League of Legends is only played on computer. However, Call of Duty and Super Smash Brothers, you can play those on console. Super Smash Brothers is on the Nintendo Switch. Call of Duty you can play on computer, but you can also play on Xbox or PlayStation. So the nice part about our competitions, though, is we're able to compete completely online. There are some times where we like competing in person, get that true, arena in person, head-to-head atmosphere, but it's not required. So that's why this semester has been, I wouldn't say great for us, but it's allowed us to still, like you said, not miss a step because we are able to take our practices and competitions completely online. And not even just like online in our area, we're still playing people from around the country, even like just North America as a whole, competing in these events.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next question here then. So what kind of competitions do you compete in, whether pre and post-COVID, hopefully, and then during COVID itself too? So what do competitions look like? How do people enter them? How do they play them?
Yeah, so what's cool about our school is, or our team, is that we are a collegiate team. However, that doesn't mean we only have to do collegiate events. In terms of signing up for events, we're really a professional organization. We can play collegiate events, but we can also play amateur events. We can win scholarships, we can win cold hard cash through amateur events, or we can even enter professional events, which are very difficult because we're going against professional teams, but we can still get there, try our best, and compete with truly the best of the best. But a lot of our competitions we go for do revolve around those collegiate events, just because it's great to play against other colleges. It's more scholarship opportunities for our players, and the collegiate competitive scene is one that's been really growing a lot and offers a lot of opportunities. So in terms of competitions, there's leagues, maybe it's 1 or 2 games a week, but these will span over a couple months, usually throughout a whole semester. For example, this last semester we were in a league for Rocket League, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, and Fortnite. And then something like Super Smash Brothers, there's a lot of one-off tournaments, just either one day, start and end on a Friday, or throughout a whole weekend, a 3-day tournament. So we have a good variety in what kind of events, how long they last, and who they're against. So we're really able to compete year round.
Okay. Do they happen, like in my mind, when my friends and family members were playing video games, it was usually like at night? For some reason, like video games and nighttime are like synced in my brain. Do these
Totally.
competitions happen during the day? Are they?
What
time of day?
Yeah, they can. I mean, you can play esports whenever you want, but you're not going to find a lot of people to wake up before 9 a.m. and start playing games. So our events, most of them do happen at night, which is nice because, especially for our students, they get through their classes, maybe they work out, maybe they're involved in a different sport that, takes a couple hours during the day. So I'd say most of our competitions do start around like 6 or 7 p.m. local time.
Gotcha. Perfect time for gaming.
Exactly.
Okay, so I wasn't wrong about that. Okay.
No, you're good. You want the sun to go down. You don't want that glare on your computer.
That's right.
As you can even see by this picture right here. We've got all this nice light up equipment. We want to make sure it can really be seen.
All of those rainbow colors, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is a big question I know students and parents probably have too, of can you win money playing these games?
Yeah, that's a popular question. I kind of touched on it before, but yeah, you can win money. You can win tuition scholarships that go directly to your school tuition. And it's great. We had, like I said, these really come through the collegiate events, but a really good example is we had our fortnight trio. So a group of 3 compete in a league that lasted pretty much all of fall semester. We had a really good regular season. We made playoffs. There were 2 rounds of playoffs. We just missed out on advancing to the second round. However, the group of 3 did win $1,000 from the tournament organizer because we were placed high enough. So that was over the weekend. So they'll see that $1,000 split amongst the 3 of them and go towards their tuition at the school. So it's great because obviously money is a motivating factor. People like to win scholarship money, save themselves some money in the long run. So that's a great motivating factor. But also, like, these guys were working hard all semester long, putting in a lot of time in practice during games, in between games. So it was really nice to see them be rewarded at the end of it, even though they didn't, win the championship at the end of the semester.
$1,000, I think, is a good consolation prize.
It's a very good consolation. Yeah, I would take it.
Right, it's better than like a the ribbon of participation,
Oh yeah, just a little plastic trophy. Yeah, give me cold hard cash anytime.
Heck yeah. And I think it's amazing that the money has to go towards your tuition, right? It can't go towards you, I don't know, something else. It just has to go to tuition, correct?
Right. Yeah. Like I said, that's the collegiate event. So the people who are in their events are dedicated students, and then from a tournament host perspective, they're able to award more money in scholarships than they would cash. So it actually does benefit you that it's able to go straight to your tuition.
Nice. You get more bang for your buck, more bang for your time. Awesome. And I know this is one of your personal photos on your Instagram. Can you talk about, because you're showing a product. So how do students get to interact with these products as well that you guys get?
Yeah, so Rogue Energy, it's I don't know what the exact term is, but it's a powdered energy drink. It's a powder you can mix with water. Really helps our gamers stay focused. A lot of the games do go late. They start at night, and it's been a long day after classes, so a little drink to keep the mind sharp is very helpful. So Rogue Energy is someone we partnered with. So I know we'll plug our Twitter later, but we have a discount code with them where everyone who mentions that they know us when they check out gets 10% off. But it's just a company that is very, very esports ingrained and has been around for a while that we like to partner with. Just we help them out, they help us out, and the students absolutely love the product too. We used to be partnered with Game Fuel too, and as soon as our Game Fuel ran out, there was a little uproar in the team getting something else to drink, so they turned around. So just trying to associate ourselves with other companies in the esports industry is really helpful.
Yeah, you guys kind of blur the line between collegiate and professional, of being able to have these sponsored kind of items as well. So it feels like you guys are very top of the line. But of course, you check to make sure all of these things are healthy and above board, right? To partner.
Yes, yeah, 100%. But yeah, you did touch on it. We are in a very unique spot as a collegiate team. We share some rules, and then we also don't have some rules that other student athletes have. But overall, we just try to run ourselves as a professional organization, but still, we want to make sure we keep the student side before the athlete side.
Right, students first, classes first, grades first, and then sports. That's right. Okay, moving on then. So what are the expectations for an esports student athlete? So you had talked about, Lewis, that games go late, you know, obviously college students stay up late regardless, whether that's with another activity they're doing or their homework or hanging out with friends, now on Zoom, hopefully, you know. So what does a normal schedule look like for an esports athlete?
Yeah, this is something that's unique because a lot of people, they play video games and it's very casual and it's a hobby, but treating it as a dedicated esport is kind of a little shift in perspective and something that definitely takes more dedication. So an average week for our students is each player, they're all part of different esport titles within our program as a whole. All my varsity players have dedicated practices each week and matches. And these practices, they treat, very seriously. They are there on time. As soon as practice starts, they are 100% focusing on the game, on communication, on getting better. We usually, I'd say on average, have 2 practices a week, probably like 5 to 8 or 6 to 9 p.m. They're in our on-campus arena. If they can't, they're playing online. We have the ability to do that, but preferably they're in our arena, playing in person with their teammates. And yeah, we're really just grinding, trying to learn the game as best as we can. And then when we have events, usually I'd say 2 practices a week and 1 event a week, we try to be in the arena again for it. But we are very much tuned in, trying to win. If I can be there, I'm over their shoulders trying to help them out. But ultimately, I'm trying to empower them to be able to run practices and games on their own.
Yeah. And right now they're in person, but as we saw in a previous photo, wearing masks and having more distance between them than they would normally.
Yes, good save.
Thank you. That's my job as hostess here. So again, they do get to be in person as well. So that it can sometimes be a stigma of people who play video games casually and competitively, is that they're maybe need more help with their social skills. So, or that may be an area that they haven't worked on as much because they've been interacting with this game and not with people. So how do those in-person practices, how do they really help with building students' confidence, maybe in the sport, but also in terms of navigating social areas?
Yeah, there are a lot of stigmas around video games and esports, and a lot that we are still trying to kind of break down. A lot of it is just kind of people being more familiar with what we do, with what esports are. But yeah, it's something we're going to be always competing with. But in terms of the life skills that our students get, is me personally, I've been a big athlete growing up. Football was my sport, and a lot of who I am today, my work ethic, my perspective on a lot of things and life and being productive and working hard comes from my background in traditional sports. And I'm trying to make sure these students, just because they don't happen to like football or basketball, not miss out on that experience any more than anyone else would. So team work and just team communication is absolutely massive in esports. And you are still able to get the majority of that experience online. However, it is different being in person. You're able to say some things and interact and how you wouldn't be able to online. So we try to push for that as much for our students and really try to give them a very fulfilling experience as a whole.
Thanks, Lois. And then I know we had talked previously about the measures you go to make sure the students aren't just athletically and virtually well, but also physically well and mentally well. So what resources do you make sure your students know about when they become an athlete?
Yeah, I'm a very big advocate of mental health being extremely, extremely important. And like you said, physical too. Like, yes, we compete online. Our sport itself isn't, physically exhausting, but we're still all people. People need to exercise, be moving, and just live an overall very healthy lifestyle. So, we'll still have workouts as a team. It's not as regimented and excruciating as something you'd see in football and basketball, but still something important to keep all of our guys and girls active. And then mentally, we have a mental health lab on campus. It's not something that we require people to go to, but it's something we require all of our students to be certified within. The internet can be a toxic place. It can be tough. And it's just nice to be able to give our students more resources in order to make sure that they are prioritizing their mental health. Some of the tools in our mental health lab are just, meditation, relaxation. Sometimes they have trouble sleeping, and we just have some tools that really help people keep in tune with that. And maybe they need to use them, maybe they don't. Either way, we want to make sure that they have access to them.
Yeah, having that resource on campus is really helpful. And I like how you use the word excruciating to talk about workouts, because sometimes that's what I feel like, where I'm just like, it's great that some people really love it. For others, it's not their thing, and that's okay. But being still some level of physically healthy is important.
Yes, we try to balance out overall health. And, like I said, I played football a long time. There's a difference between the torture physically that we go through as football players, and then what is encouraged to be a healthy individual. So we try not to go on the other side of that line.
Right. Okay. And I know too that some of your athletes, like you said, are also participating in another sport on campus. They're like two members of teams. Like I know a football player is also an esports athlete as well.
Yeah, I'd say we have about 20 students that are two-sport athletes, a good amount of football players, track and field, hockey. So yeah, there's a variety. People are able to be two-sport athletes at Concordia. It just makes scheduling a little more, I don't even want to say difficult. This is something that I have to work with them a little more closely on. Luckily, most traditional sports are happening during the day. Their workouts and practice are all done by 5 p.m. So esports can start at 6, and there's no conflict at all.
That's right, because video games, night. That's right. Okay.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to our next question here. So we know students can play multiple sports. Can they play multiple games as well?
That's a good question. Yeah, a lot of our students, they come in and they have a very, well-rounded experience in terms of games they play. So how we do it on our team is we have varsity and casual teams. Varsity are the people who are required to have a couple practices a week, competing year-round, very dedicated students. The casual teams are people who play games but aren't built in with the expectations of having to be there for practice, having to be there for competitions. More of just like playing for fun and seeing if they can get to the varsity level. So people are able to play multiple games. It's when they want to play multiple varsity games, if they want to practice and compete across multiple games, then we just have to schedule it out. We have a lot of players that are extremely skilled at multiple games. I was talking to one of our students the other day who was on one of our star Fortnite trios, as well as playing Rocket League. So those are two esports that he's in the group of 3 on. So he has practices with 2 different groups of 3 each week. So he's very passionate about both games and very dedicated to both games. So he's able to compete in both year round.
Double games equals double opportunity for scholarships, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You can do math.
So what would you say would be the game that has the most opportunity for scholarship? Like which one's got the most scholarship money floating around?
That's a good question. From our personal experience, it would be Fortnite. The Fortnite league that we were in the fall was the most well-run league we've been in as a group, but it was also the one that offered the most in scholarship money with a $100,000 prize pool. And what's great about that event is that the company who hosts that, called Play Versus, is also running that in spring. So as a Fortnite player, you have 2 tournaments a year, 1 each semester, that you can compete in for your share of a $100,000 prize pool. So that's been the biggest money sport for us so far.
That sounds real nice. Can people watch these games? Like, do you guys, when these tournaments and games are happening and matches, are spectators able to watch their friends play as well?
Yeah, I know later you're going to be plugging our Twitch channel for us where people can follow and subscribe on that. But yeah, we have a Twitch. It's our own little broadcast channel, live stream if anyone's not familiar with twitch.tv. But yeah, our students will stream, which means they're sharing their screen while they're competing. So when we are playing, you can watch from home or from the arena or wherever you are and see exactly what our players are seeing when they are competing.
That's awesome because again, I know growing up, it was more fun to watch my cousins play than it was for me to just fumble around, and it was still a blast, right? A little more fun than watching my dad watch golf, you know? So, so I think it's a really great spectators sport to go support your friends as well. Awesome. Okay, next question here. Can you play remotely? So for our students who may be international right now, so in different countries, also students who are here but who can't make it to campus, are they, because we've talked about it's all online, are you guys able to have remote play?
Yeah. So we touched on it a couple of times. A big advantage of what we've been able to do this semester is with everything in person really getting canceled, we've had the ability to pivot to being completely remotely. So we talk over Discord. We have a lot of online chats that way. We have practices where we're not in the same place at the same time as who we're practicing with, but it doesn't slow us down. Our competitions are supposed to be online, so it works well that way. And the big thing, what I love about our team and what we're able to offer as a whole is the barrier for playing is very low. The fact that we can say you can be completely online. We have students that don't have a single in-person class, don't even come to campus all semester, and they are still practicing each week, competing each week with our team. So it opens up a lot of opportunity for people, regardless of what they even have access to.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, time zones you might have to like work with, and if you're international, figure out what your time zone is. But I'm sure our international students are probably used to that already, having joined this webinar.
Yeah, time zones can be difficult. And yeah, the big thing about being remote is as long as you have access to play and dependable internet, you're set. Those are the big things. So our arena is nice because we have absolute top of the line equipment in there with top of the line internet in there. So anyone who doesn't have that dependable gaming station at home can use this, but like I said, it's not required.
Awesome. And is it required to have tryouts for student athletes joining the esports team, or can they just say, I want to be a casual student athlete here?
Yeah. So the casual is meant for people like that, where they are new to the game, they are just getting better, they're not ready to try to compete each week and practice in a very, dedicated fashion each week. So the casual is a great kind of first step for them. I have people that have been playing the game for years and they want to compete with the best of the best. I also have people who have heard of an esport that they want to try to get better at. So that's where having a varsity team compared to a casual team really gives us that good advantage to be able to accept more people in the space.
That's awesome, because that would be me. That would definitely be me.
Kelsey, we've got a spot for you. We have
Oh yeah,
definitely got a spot for
I'll
you.
be the annoying one asking all of the questions. They'll be like, "Oh my gosh, Kelsey."
Yes,
Sounds fun.
Yeah, come on in.
Watch me come on down. Okay, all right. So next and last question we have here. It's not really a question, but it's something we teased to when we talked about having this webinar in general. Is that students who are on this this webinar right now, you guys have an opportunity to play with the Concordia University Wisconsin esports team. And Louis, can you talk to them how to do that?
Yeah, so Kelsey is going to be the middleman or middlewoman for this, and yeah, everyone on. So we have a Discord dedicated to our team. If you aren't familiar with Discord, it's kind of just like a chat room online for our team. And that's where we talk about practices, where all of our players are, all of our other recruits are in there. And being on this webinar, we're going to send you an invite to join that Discord. And in there, you can talk to our current players. It's broken up by games. So if you have a specific game you want to play, you can find other people who play that game in the Discord and see what collegiate esports is like. You know, you can compete with them. We can even play against other colleges. Just a really good way for you to get your feet wet in collegiate esports before ever even attending.
That's awesome. And you can do it internationally as well. So you don't have to be in the US to join the Discord.
Right, global.
Okay, so thank you so much, Lewis. It's really been wonderful. So I'm going to open it up to you guys on the webinar here. What questions do you have for Coach Smith about competitive video games while also being a college student athlete? What questions do you guys have? And perhaps Moses, do you guys have, there you go. Yeah. What questions do we have?
I actually see a question, so I'll read that one. It's asked if esports is a course or if it's a club, and can we participate in esports simultaneously while studying? So esports isn't a course, it's a varsity sport, so it's actually not a club either. So a varsity sport means it is a sport run through the school, so they are putting their money and resources into supporting the school, which is great. So it definitely gives us an advantage in terms of competing and just our overall structure. You are able to participate in esports while studying. All of the student athletes on the team are active students, so they're all full-time enrolled students. So we're able to balance their role with playing on the team with their class load. So it's actually a pretty simple balance that allows everyone to compete while still earning their degree.
Yeah, I think that's a great distinction because there's a lot of confusion about, well, first of all, the American education system might be different than the one you live with in your home country. So the difference between a club and a sport and a class, right? A class is one that you're doing for academics. Club is extracurricular and student-led for the most part. But a sport is one that is sponsored by the school and it's an extracurricular activity and athletic. Am I missing anything there?
No, you're perfect.
All right.
Coach Lewis, just a quick question from the audience here around career paths for people who are really into video games. I know it might be a little bit early, but what have you seen students go on to do sort of with their passion and their degree in video games?
Yeah, that's a good question. What I've got a lot. Obviously, my career is very unique and something that didn't even exist 10 years ago. So the opportunities within esports are growing pretty drastically. There's a few different ways you can go with it. Speaking from my experience specifically, you can really have your career revolve around the competitive scene as a college coach, as a team coach, working for a professional organization. Something you'd see with people who work in the sport management field that go on to work for an NFL team or an NBA team. That's kind of the career path I'm in. There's also like the one of being the player, but that is one that is the most rare, just because you can imagine how many people want to go professional in a esport. So that's very difficult. But I'd say the most popular one is actually on the computer science and technology side. There's a lot of people that work in esports because they work for esports companies, whether it's helping be a back-end engineer of creating the game, a computer engineer of really helping build a website or a game completely online. You know, video games, I think it's one of the first things I brought up for this call as a whole is the video game industry and esports industry along with it is absolutely booming. More games are being made, they're played at a higher level, they have more players signed up and playing those games. So there's a lot of opportunity within those companies for careers.
Yeah, it seems like they're always adding more and new platforms to play them on. Were you going to say something?
Here's another question, just around what can students be doing to prepare now when they're maybe in high school, if they want to be on the team in the future, or also just prepare for the rigors of academic and esports life?
Good question, Moses. Yeah, so to prepare for this next step, the students that have the most success on my team are those who really come in with a good idea of the game they want to play and how to play it at a high level. Uh, the real success comes from being able to spend time dedicated to practicing, to competing, or watching competition. So people who are out there that are preparing to go to college and know they want to play an esport in college, obviously I'd recommend practicing, but I also recommend watching some events. Even watch our stream, see us in competitive events, really see what collegiate esports looks like. And then obviously keeping a balance between school and esports is very, very important. So the big thing I'd recommend is when you are playing esports, be sure to play with a purpose, is what I like to say. It's you're not just putting in an unnecessary amount of hours, staying up really late. When you are playing, you are practicing, and you are trying to get better. So don't feel like you have to waste a lot of time just being online in order to improve.
Yeah, just to maybe an additional question on that. Someone asked just about, my parents are constantly telling me that this is a waste of my time. How do you advise me talking to my parents about my passion for video games and esports?
Yeah, send this link over to your parents. Watch on YouTube. But no, I'm joking about it, but it's like something serious. It's like a lot of the hesitancy about getting involved in esports is exactly that. People think it's just video games, it's wasting time, but really there is a dedicated collegiate structure to playing video games, to playing esports that can really benefit you long term. I've touched on all the life skills that you get from playing, and then I've also touched on all the scholarship opportunities you have from playing. So bringing those things up and talk about how it's a varsity sport in a very controlled and dedicated environment is something that I really do expect the parent to be able to buy into.
Yeah. Just great
Especially
questions
since
from
in
the
order
audience.
to have to be a student athlete, you need to keep your grades up. It's not oh, I guess I can. You have to, otherwise you get kicked off the team, right?
Exactly. Yeah, Kelsey's gonna come down with the hammer and give you the boot out of the team. Yeah, she's our enforcer, our team enforcer.
Yeah, I'm very intimidating.
Yes.
I'll kill you with questions. That's what I'll do. Okay, thanks, Moses. Do we have any other questions, or shall we move on? Did you freeze?
Looks like there's no more questions here. I think
All
there's
right.
good questions from the audience. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been wonderful having you guys. All right, let's move on then real quick. So like Coach Smith was saying, probably the most popular kind of major for students who are really interested in video games, right? You already have that kind of background knowledge of technology, is computer science. And at Concordia University, Wisconsin, we have both an undergraduate and graduate program in computer science. So you can see here, we have 5 concentrations for our undergraduates to choose from, and they are all those really big buzzwords that you're hearing in the field right now. Things like software engineering, cybersecurity, information systems, artificial intelligence and robotics, and computer animation. And you're also able to double up on these majors as well. So you don't have to just pick one. If you want to pick more than one, that would be great. If you're thinking into going maybe into video game development, maybe you want to do artificial intelligence and robotics and computer animation, right? There's a really great mix of things you can do with those concentrations. If you're interested in doing the undergraduate and graduate degree in 4 years at no extra charge for the computer science program, we have a scholars program for you that you might be really interested in. So you're able to, again, get a computer science undergraduate and graduate degree in 4 years, no extra charge. Now there are it's a really strenuous or very difficult program to get through. Obviously, there's a little extra that you need to be doing during those 4 years to graduate with those degrees. And I would be happy to talk to you more about that if you're interested. Then we also have a graduate program that's 30 credits in length. So students are able to complete it in 1 year if they're really buckling down. But we have 3 concentrations for them to choose from. One is coming soon. So we have software engineering, information systems, but business analytics is coming soon as well to that graduate program. So please stay tuned for more details. Also, it's STEM certified to that STEM OPT extension that our international students are really keen, they're really eager to pursue, is available for you guys. If you have any questions about that program, please let me know. I would be happy to have a personal virtual Zoom meeting with you and we can talk about all of those details. All right, so then just for undergraduate students, if you're interested in applying to our beautiful university here, the process is really simple. So first is to do the online application. It's a free online application at applynow.cuw.edu. Then send us your transcripts and diplomas, right? We need to see those to see what kind of a student you were in high school. So you can send scanned electronic copies to us and we will accept those. Okay, and then an English test score. So if you are coming from a country that does not have a English or British curriculum, we need the Duolingo, TOEFL, IELTS, PTE, or if you're not interested in taking any of those tests, we also work with Moses at the Michigan Language Center for an English pathway program. Moses, do you want to touch on that?
Sure. Just a little bit about Michigan Language Center. We've been around for 43 years and have a very strong partnership with Concordia University. But what we'll do is, if you're interested in taking our classes in lieu of Duolingo, TOEFL, IELTS, or PTE, all you need to do is take our free English placement test. We'll assess your level and we'll recommend the classes that are right for you to meet the requirements for Concordia University. So for example, if maybe reading is your weakness, we'll recommend that reading class. And once you pass the advanced level of that reading class or the meet all the skills that are required, we will send a recommendation to Concordia and you will have met your English requirement. So again, one way to get started is if you want, after this webinar, we'll send out an email. If you want to take a free English placement test and talk to us maybe about your level and how close you are potentially to meeting that requirement, we'll be able to give you sort of an honest assessment.
Yeah, thank you, Moses. And I was just talking to a student yesterday who said they weren't confident in their English ability. So really a great way to build confidence and practice would be to work with Michigan Language Center. All right, and just as a note there too, undergraduate students, we do not require the ACT or SAT, so you don't have to worry about sending that to us either. All right, so for our undergraduate students as well, we do offer scholarships that are based off of your GPA. So step one in terms of applying for scholarships is be accepted to Concordia. Next step is to complete a one-page application form, which really is very, very simple, but I would be happy to help you work through that as well. And then scholarships are based on GPA, like I said, and we will send that to you as soon as you're awarded. It usually takes about 7 to 10 business days to have that financial aid processed. Okay. Graduate students, the process is a little more intense for applying to graduate school at Concordia. So step one, use that USACUW code when you apply, and that will waive the application fee. So again, free application for students joining us on this webinar. Then send your documents to us at that email address. Right now, we are accepting unofficial scanned transcripts and diplomas for the admissions process. Before you would enroll in classes, we would require those official transcripts and diplomas to be sent to us. But right now, things are a little slow going in terms of mail and getting in contact with your university. So we want to make sure we give you as much flexibility and time as possible when it comes to completing that step. Then again, we look for that English test score or graduation from the Michigan Language Center. And also no GRE or GMAT required for our graduate students. So that is a really big sigh of relief for some students because they really are not thrilled about those tests. Okay, and then here you guys have a contact us. You can see all of our stuff where you can find us. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you're already familiar with Facebook pages of Michigan Language Center or Concordia. So thank you for being a part of that. But also you can see Esports. We have their Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Anything else you want to say before signing off, Coach?
No, I'm happy to be a part of this. I appreciate anyone who gives us a follow or a subscribe on our Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to see what the day-to-day is like, definitely encourage you to keep up with our Twitter. And then if you want to see us compete, we'll be competing a lot at the start of the new year on our Twitch. So that's a place where you can watch all of our practices and competitions.
Awesome, thanks so much. And then the Concordia International Center, we are right there. You can see our email. We have an international website as well that can be translated into multiple languages. If you want to follow us on WhatsApp or any of our socials, like I said, this video will be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel as well. Just look for Concordia International Center. And I also have really enjoyed this time with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. And then Michigan Language Center, Moses, do you guys want to shout anything else out?
Yep, love to connect with you. Check out our website, mlc.edu. But again, have a very strong relationship with Concordia University, and we'll coordinate for you if you're interested in attending school there. We can be the start and they can be the finish. So really excited about that.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful partnership. And so next time we plan on talking about, number one, going into more depth about scholarships and how to do that, but also how to balance your academics and esports. We'll dive a little deeper into that. But we would love to hear from you guys still on the call here of, is there anything else you want us to touch on in the next iteration of this esports webinar? It'll be happening next week, Wednesday, same time. So if you guys want to put in the chat anything else you want us to talk about during next Wednesday's webinar, please feel free to put that in. We will make sure to include it. And so we'll all be here just to help answer any questions and to take note of what you guys want to see in the next webinar. So we'll hang out for a little bit. But thank you again so much for joining. We've really appreciated you hanging out with us either on Facebook Live or on this webinar Zoom. We'll have it recorded again. If you want to get in touch with any of us, we are happy to do that. Look for the email coming up to get in touch with us. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you might be. Thanks so much.